Okay, well, hello, my prosperous hearts. Sorry it's been so long. I was actually on a trip for a few days and had no access to internet to be able to post anything. So anyway, this video is going to be about my synopsis of day 2 of Unleash the Power Within, the event that was put on by Tony Robbins in Dallas a couple of weekends ago. At the end of it, I'll provide you with additional resources you can check out for more information, as this short 4-part series are simply videos to only give you an idea of what was experienced, and it's only my take on it. You could have an entirely different take. So once again, I urge you to go to a Tony Robbins event or to pick up any of the materials I suggest in this video. I will not be going in depth in everything he taught, as it truly is an experience you need to take for yourself. I may go into some things in other videos, but for now, my synopsis of day 2. It was intense. The very first thing they focused on was something they called the ultimate success formula, which their explanation of it was something I've actually heard several times over. Number 1, know your outcome. Know where you're going. Number 2, know your reasons why. Number 3, take massive and immediate action. Number 4, know what you're getting or check your progress. Number 5, if you're not moving closer, reevaluate what you've been working on and change your approach as necessary. Here's an easy example to tie this all together. Think of your life as a ship, and on that ship it has a crew that have mapped out its destination. They know where they're going and why they need to get there. They have a purpose for steering that ship and a destination with which to point the rudder. They take massive action to start the boat and make sure it stays afloat, constantly moving forward. And if they begin to veer off, they check in to see how far off course they are and make changes or alterations as necessary. They don't beat themselves up if a storm blows through. They weather it. They overcome it, and it takes practice, dedication, and hard work to meet that final destination. It's pretty easy to put into perspective if you think about it, but we often let things in our lives overtake us. People say, "Oh, life just got in the way." But that's not true, is it? It would be more truthful to say, "I didn't make time for it." And why didn't you make time for it? Because you didn't know where you were going. You didn't have that destination clearly mapped out, so it became a want instead of a need. I'll touch more on that in another video. Anyway, they taught us, they taught us about memory files, how we can activate our memory through different means, such as physiology, perception, and always asking, what did I learn? We learned the three beliefs for lasting success. If you want something to change and be a lasting effect, you must have these 3 beliefs. 1, it must change now. 2, I must change it now. 3, I can change it now. This is where that saying comes in, where the past does not equal your future. Those who are stuck in the past, who believe they can't change because someone said they were to insert limiting belief here, they are unable to see anything other than their imposed beliefs, whether they are self-imposed or imposed upon them by someone else. But if you want something to change, you must believe that it can, that you can do it, and that it must happen. A belief is simply a feeling of certainty about what something means. I believe it was Henry Ford who said, "Those who believe they can and those who believe they can't are both right." And it's a perfect statement to wrap that up. Again, moving on, they walked us through the 3 steps of lasting change, all the while working us through neuroassociative conditioning. They walked us through the science of momentum. That momentum is simply a positive or negative reinforcement on itself. The reason why people fail to achieve goals in their life is because they never take the first steps. They never tap into their own power of momentum. See, if you start out by putting yourself into a peak state, you're priming yourself. You're getting your emotions right and causing you to want to do more, to achieve more, and be more. When you're in that peak state, you can determine your passion, that drive that will fuel you to do what needs to be done. It'll get you to the point where you will make a decision and resolve to complete it. With that resolve, you'll take immediate and intelligent, consistent, massive action. And just as mentioned before, you'll measure your steps often, calibrating as necessary, but always in that peak state. Because if you're not in that peak state, you will almost never achieve those goals because you'll never be able to take that first step. You have to wire yourself to follow through, as it were. And the reason for this is that skills are simply pathways of nerves that are created when you do something more than once. They are neurons that get built up and become stronger as you put more focus, energy, and repetition behind it. And now knowing that, you can never say, oh, I could never do what she did, or, oh, I just don't have his talent. That's just an excuse to be lazy. The day continued on with the 5 steps to asking intelligently. Ask specifically. If you don't define precisely what you need, then you may not get the information you need to head in the proper direction. Ask someone who can help you. Success leaves clues, and all of my wealthy and successful friends and mentors have all said, find someone who has what you want and do what they do. It's like baking a cake. If the world's best chef made the best cake ever, you can make it too, right? As long as you had the right recipe with the proper steps and amounts and times for everything, right? Of course you could. Also, you need to create value for the person you're asking. Ask with focused, congruent belief. Ask until you get what you want. And that is the whole idea, that you change and adjust until you achieve what you're seeking. When you study successful people, you'll see that they kept trying, kept asking, kept seeking until they found what they were looking for. The day continued on with the core emotional fitness, an exercise of our own self-assessment of where we were in a multitude of different areas in our lives, where we wanted to be, and what we could do to bridge the gap. We were introduced to our X factor, which is that ability to find a way to add intangible value in whatever position in life we may hold, regardless of if we're working for ourselves or someone else. And this didn't have to be just in business either. They discussed the power of mastering our business and what it would look like. They discussed the power of team. And this was something that struck home for me for one of my own home businesses. And the reason for that is when you're working for someone else, you're not really on a team. No one really helps you out so you can be better. Yes, you may have a manager who helps you create a plan to become better. You may have a company that pays for you to learn more and have more skills, but it's all on you to be better, to learn that information, to do better, increase. But in home businesses, it's a team sport. When people on your team win, you win. I've seen a quote from Tony several times over, and I've heard it from many a successful person. The secret to wealth and happiness is to become a team player. And it's true. It was here in this section of the day that I began to realize some things that have been missing for me personally, not only my business life, but my personal life as well. But it wasn't until day 3 that it all came together. So you have to check out my next video for that. Anyway, it was also during this stage of the day that another thing I'd always heard from my leaders in other ventures was that people's lives are a direct reflection of the expectations of their peer group. Peer group. I don't know. Anyway, prior to going to this event, I had also heard your income is the average of the top 5 people you hang around most. Part of this is because happiness comes from progress, which shows up in the form of growth and a sense of contribution. If you're content in where you're at and you stop growing, you're dying. If you're constantly around the negative Nancys, always complaining about money or people, then how likely is it that you'll be one of the same? Successful people discuss ideas. They talk about the things they plan on doing, the adventures they're going on. They're constantly dreaming and working towards constant achievement. So if you're around people who are constantly bringing you down and talking about other people, well, I think you get where I'm going with this. And that's basically day 2 in a nutshell. I tried to keep it short and sweet, but as I said in the first video, this was an immersion. There's no way I could convey to you everything that I experienced or was taught. I'm just giving my own experience and what was most important to me for each day. As promised, I have provided a few links below that you can check out for more information on what was discussed here, some of which are products of Tony's, some of which are some other things I'm working on or have touched me in some way. As always, please leave a comment below if something has touched you or if there's something that you would like to hear more about. Ciao mi amici, have a wonderful evening or day depending on where you're at. From my prosperous heart to yours, I'll see you again.